YouTube, it's your beekeeper here. We got to remove a few things out of the truck because I got another project that I'm dragging home tomorrow. This is that WW grinder. By now you've probably already seen the video on it where I found out it had low compression because I couldn't get it to start. I did the RTV silicone head gasket repair on it. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for me to complain and whine for a minute. Maybe a minute and 58 seconds. Hard to say depending on how quickly I can talk. I had actually taken the video of me tearing apart this 5 horsepower Briggs, and it was horrible, horrible. So instead of boring you with this stupid footage, I don't know, I was out of practice and I had this different camera and I like shined it in the sun, so the angles were wrong, the video was wrong. It was painful. You thought I was a first year YouTuber, not a guy that's been doing this stuff for a decade, but what are you going to do? So you're not going to see that footage because the footage is horrible. But basically what I did was I pulled this thing out of the shed to use it in my own yard, and it had zero compression. And by zero, I mean nothing. So I pulled the head apart thinking I had a sticky valve, which I didn't. Turns out I have a bad head gasket. My fix for that, because of course I hadn't bought a rebuild kit for it. If you remember when I bought this thing, it had low compression, and I just kind of messed around with it and got it running. But it's always been low in compression and hard to start when it's warm because the compression is low. But the head gasket is bad. So what I did was I used some high temp, that copper RTV silicone, glued the head gasket and the head and the jug all together. Smeared that stuff on either side of the head gasket, gave it about 10 minutes to kind of skin up a little bit, but not totally. Put the head back on, 11 foot-pounds of torque. I think that's what it was. Whatever it is, it's pretty low torque rating on those heads. But I put it all together, let that stuff cure up overnight, and it ran. And I put a ton of hours on it, which I talk about here in a minute. But insofar as seeing the movie of what I did with that, it wasn't that good. But just take my word for it. And when I do the movie, when he said doo-doo, when I do the movie, he said it again, of me rebuilding the engine, you'll see what I did exactly. So we'll get you back to your normally scheduled program. Thanks for watching. Just to kind of see what I could get out of it, and then it turns out I've got probably 15 or 16 hours of runtime on this engine, and it still runs. Even with that RTV thing, I did a 2-day project at work, probably ran this for 5 hours a day, back-to-back days. I did a little work around here, maybe that was an hour and a half. I did a pretty decent job at my mom's house, probably had 2 hours of runtime on that to grind up all the branches and stuff that I cleaned out of her place. So yeah, but I do have a rebuild kit for that, and I'm going to do a video on it of me pulling the engine apart, con rod, piston, rings, seals, gaskets, all that stuff, and make this thing good as new. This thing really does a pretty decent job. I'm pretty happy with that. But this video is for the other part of this and another part of this. This is this has asbestos in it, this gasket that goes around here, because this is what actually sits into the coals, and you blow the air into there and you get fire out of here, good fire and heat and all that stuff out of here to melt your, or to heat your metal. And so it's got an asbestos rope around the link, around the ring, and I don't want that in my truck. That's why I left that out here. But let's take a look inside. And yeah, look at this thing. So this was going to the scrapyard. It's stuck. It's been sitting out as yard art, and a friend of mine was getting rid of it. And this old fella's just kind of cleaning out his yard, and he's like, "Hey, do you know anybody that wants anything to do with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, me. Champion Blower Forge Company, Lancaster, Pennsylvania." It is, like I said, stuck. This was in the weeds, and I pulled it out and threw it back here. I want to break it all down, wire wheel it, put a coat of paint on it. I don't know if I'm going to ever set up a coal forge. Growing up on the cattle ranch that I did, they had a blacksmith shop with a foot activated bellows for the coals, and my younger brother and I used to hang around in there and beat metal, get them red hot, and beat our metal. And I thought it might be fun to get back into, and I've got tongs. I've got 5 or 6 different types of tongs. I have anvils, I have hammers, and it might be fun to set up a coal forge with this blower. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to show you real quick. I know it's been a minute. I took a little bit of time off of the videos because I forgot my cameras up at El Rancho back in March, and here we are towards the end of May. I didn't realize that until I got home that I didn't have my cameras with me, so I haven't had much equipment to do much of anything. But this old forge is clean. There's nothing broken on it. I have no idea what it's worth. I have no idea if I can get it moving again, but I'm pretty sure I can get it moving again. I don't know what this thing does. I don't know anything about it. Like I said, the only blacksmithing that I'm familiar with is what I used to do as a kid with my brother on my uncle's cattle ranch, and it had these giant bellows that you pushed your foot up and down, and the bellows would breathe life, and it was super cool. Maybe I'll do something with this. Anyway, just thought I'd throw up a quick video because I know it's been a minute since I've done anything, but I haven't had any cameras, and I'm actually borrowing this camera from a friend of mine. So this is all going to come out. I'm going to pick up a new project tomorrow. You guys are going to see that now that I've got a camera on loaner. We're going to take some footage of what I'm picking up tomorrow. But that's it, right? I love dragging this old heavy iron home. And this just fits right into the end of the blower. That fits into right there. And you give it the old zoom, and there you go. So it'll be kind of cool to see how that thing works. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do any forging, blacksmithing. I don't know. You never know. I've got a lot of interest in a lot of things. But anyhow, all right. Listen, appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you watching this quick video. Have a great day. Gotta go. Gotta run. See. What does that do? What does that do? Because I can't leave well enough alone. I got in here, started picking around, and look at it. I got it to move. Look at the handles moving. Well, it's made it a little bit easier. I don't know if I'll be able to get that off. Looks like that's been hammered on. Well, we'll take apart as much as we can take apart. Oh, it rolls nice now. Build a new handle for it. Put some lubrication on this thing. It ought to fly like the wind, bullseye. Always Baroque. I didn't see that. Hold on. Oh, I've got a little crack in that elbow. I don't think that really affects it though. Oh, it's alright. Maybe put a little JB weld on that. We're going to paint this thing anyway. Put a little JB weld or something, epoxy on there. Alright, that's the addendum. Let me put this thing away before I break it. Alright, gotta go, gotta run. See you.